session of the Samvidhan Lecture Series. I hope you are doing fine in this pandemic. I am also doing very fine. I'm Rushil Kumar and I'll be moderating today's session. This lecture series has been organized by Think India. Think India is a pan-India student-run organization with an aim to inculcate nation-first attitudes in the youth of in today's youth. Think India has members across all premier national institutes like IITs, IIMs, NLUs, etc. Now I would like to invite Shri Anil Mehta sir uh, to put forward his point of view on the topic Uniform Civil Code. So if you are here, whenever you are ready, we can start with our session.
Rushal, I'm here only, I guess. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible as well as visible.
A very good morning to all and everyone present here. Firstly, I congratulate Team Think India for organizing Samvidhan Lecture Series and creating such a platform during such testing times to discuss and deliberate upon issues of national importance. I pay my regards to the earlier speaker, Shri Satyapal Jainji, the Additional Solicitor General of India, whom we as young lawyers always look upon and aspire for. This indeed is an opportunity given to me by the Think India to share the screen or maybe the stage with him. And I'm indebted for this. The discussion on Uniform Civil Code is not less than 100 years old in India. Therefore, to summarize it within 20 minutes is a task next to impossible. But then also I will try to do justice with the time, topic, and the audience. नियम संहिता एक समान हो, समता का सबको गुमान हो, हर मजहब का मान रहे, पर पहला मजहब संविधान हो. This saying in Hindi, written by an unknown author, talks about the supremacy of our constitution. The constitution is the supreme power of the nation and governs all laws. The supremacy of the constitution means that no individual, irrespective of his or her position or social status, is above the law. The constitution is supreme because it protects human rights and acts as a defender of such rights and serves as the check on the governmental power against arbitrariness. The objective resolution of our constitution, that is the preamble, is an introduction to a document that describes the document's purpose. The preamble, as the word denotes, means pre, that is before, and amble, meaning walk. The preamble of a law is not part of the law, but it explains the law. It explains its purpose. It explains its philosophy, its objective. The preamble to Indian Constitution provides for sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. If the objective of our preamble, of our constitution, is to provide socialist, secular, democratic republic, then why there is controversy to implement Uniform Civil Code in the country? Then why the framers of our constitution, while debating in the Constituent Assembly on 23rd of November 1948, failed to resolve a uniform civil code for its citizenry? The answer to both these questions, while giving these answers, I think I might commit the contempt of the court being on a constitutional post, but I would not hesitate to say that in India, apart from supremacy of law, there is supremacy of religion and supremacy of vote bank. There was a deliberate attempt and a conscious effort by the British government in 1835 when they stressed the need of the codification of Indian laws relating to crime, evidence, and contracts, with a specific recommendation to keep personal laws for Hindus and Muslims out of this codification. The reason was simple: to keep them divided and to keep them ruling. The first Law Commission submitted its report on 31st of October 1840 to the government and recommended that an act should be passed making the substantive law of England the lex loci, the law of land outside the presidency towns in mofussil areas, and which shall be applicable to all except Hindus and Mohammedans. The lex loci report of the Law Commission was sent to all the presidencies in India for their opinion. And during the period when it was kept pending, second Law Commission was appointed. However, then also one of the recommendation of lex loci report was implemented, and that was the Caste Disabilities Removal Act of 1850. The second Law Commission was appointed. Reports were sought on 29th of November 1853 with a firm view that not to codify personal laws of Hindus and Mohammedans. Similarly, third Law Commission and fourth Law Commission were appointed, reports sorted, and without any substantive word on codification of personal law of Hindus and Muslims. And then in 1947, India achieved independence. The Constituent Assembly started with debates on various aspects. The debate over the Uniform Civil Code in Constituent Assembly was among the most heated debates. There was a division on the issue of putting Uniform Civil Code in Fundamental Rights chapter. The matter was settled by a vote by a majority of 5-4. The Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, held that the provision was outside the scope of fundamental rights, and therefore the Uniform Civil Code was made less important than freedom of religion. The debates in the Constituent Assembly on Uniform Civil Code were all intellectual and thought-absorbing. But in the end, Dr. Ambedkar had to soften his stand and had to soften the tone of the critics when he emphasized that a common civil law was a settled provision in Constitution of India. And when it is to be legislated, it should be voluntary in nature at its initial stage, like Shariat law of 1937. But on same day, Hussain Imam's speech received all-round applaud when he said that it is desirable to have a uniform civil law, and for that matter, it should be wiser for us to wait till whole of the India got educated, mass illiteracy eradicated, and economic condition of a common man improved. Again, the implementation of Uniform Civil Code lost to the overwhelming response given and received to religious politics over equality before law. Friends, I was preparing today's lecture on this issue. I'm quite sure and I'm quite confident of the fact that implementation of Uniform Civil Code has nothing to do with any religion. It should not be intermingled or fused with any religion. Opponents of Uniform Civil Code have often raised unreasonable justifications to hold Uniform Civil Code against the principle of secularism. Uniform Common Code is not against the doctrine as enshrined under Article 25 and 26 of the Constitution. Freedom to practice, propagate, and profess religion under Article 25 of the Constitution can't give unreasonable liberty to exploit the human rights of women in the society. The introduction of Hindu personal law has created a platform to bring gender-based social transformation. Equal rights of women have been ensured by codification of Hindu Marriage Act 1955. The practice of polygamy was very common before 1955, but after the Marriage Act was codified, it has put strong objection and prohibited along with the punishment in case of violation of any act. Hindu laws brought manifest changes in themselves with the change of time. There is still need to bring certain changes with respect to adoption, where Hindu women should be given right to adopt. In landmark case of Shah Bano, Justice Chandrachud has realized the importance of uniform civil code in the country, that how such a broad mechanism with visionary approach will promote communal harmony and strengthen the spirit of unity and integrity within the nation. It has to be understood by the citizens that uniform civil code will bring social revolution to eliminate all possible kind of gender discrimination, as I have said earlier, that it has nothing to do with religion or religious sentiments. The Uniform Civil Code aims to provide protection to vulnerable sections as envisaged by Dr. Ambedkar, including women and religious minorities. When enacted, the code will work to simplify laws that are segregated at present on the basis of religious beliefs, like the Hindu Code Bill or Shariat Code Bill. The code will simplify the complex laws around marriage ceremonies, inheritance, issues of succession, adoption, making them one for all. The same civil law would then be applicable on all citizens, irrespective of their faith. Article 44, as mentioned in Part 4 of the Constitution, the Directive Principles of State Policy provides state to make endeavor to secure. You may note it says state to make endeavor to secure for its citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. In the same breath, I have no hesitation in saying that even a single government from 1947 till 2014 has not made even an iota of endeavor to secure uniform civil code for this country. Bharatiya Janata Party in 2014 came with their manifesto, specifically mentioning about the uniform civil code, but they also just kept that in locker. On 8th of April 2019, BJP again came with their second manifesto of 2019 elections, wherein they specifically mentioned about the abrogation of Article 370, annulment of Section 35A, and implementation of Uniform Civil Code. And perhaps this time, by going by the performance of this government, I'm sure the day is not far when Uniform Civil Code will be implemented in this country. And implementation of Uniform Civil Code, as far as its implementation is concerned, there is no hesitation from courts. Starting from the intention of the courts, from the case of Shah Bano, Shaira Bano, Samina Begum, Sarla Mudgal, Satprakash Meena, Our courts has cleared the intention with regard to implementation of uniform civil code in the country. But the decision, the bill, and the enactment is the job of the legislature. These judgments rendered by the various courts in the past has kindled a hope in the believers of equality. Personal law boards, be it Hindu personal law board or Muslim personal law board, are sitting in their cocoons and does not want to come out of it, even for the discussion on the codification of civil laws, as this would lead to their political instability. इन सबका धंधा पानी बंद हो जाएगा. It's not a tussle between religious entities or to dilute anyone's religious sentiments. There are gray areas not only in Muslim laws, there are gray areas in Hindu laws as well. The concept of Hindu undivided family, HUF, is a den of black money. It's a tax heaven. Thousand crores of taxpayers' money is being evaded through this shield of HUF. The Goan Hindu law, where a Hindu male is allowed to perform a second marriage if his first wife is unable to give a birth to child by the age of 25 years or fail to give a birth to a male child by the 30 years, is not less than triple talaq or polygamy as accepted in Mohammedan law. The implementation of Uniform Civil Code does not mean, and it will not limit, the freedom of people to follow their religion. It just means that every person will be treated the same. There is a propaganda by so-called urban Naxals or pseudo-intellectuals, those who profess that Uniform Civil Code would act as an encroachment on their religious freedom. It is being propagated that the Uniform Civil Code is to implement to target a particular community. These are those people who, during the CEA protest, used to say, how can you discriminate with a particular religion? How can you discriminate with a particular religion? And the same set of people, when discussing Uniform Civil Code, say, how can you treat all religion as same? ये है इनकी मानसिकता. समय आ गया है बदलाव का. आज की बहस कनिका रूपी बीज समान सारे समाज में फैलनी चाहिए. पक्ष में हो या विपक्ष में हो, बहस होनी चाहिए. एक कंसेंसस डेवलप होना चाहिए. For a better society, it is important to have good standards of debates in society. It's time we should discuss this at every nook and corner, in all social gatherings, all social platforms, each and every place. And remember, till the time it is not discussed, a consensus would not be developed, it cannot be enforced, it cannot be implemented. Only together we can and we will make a difference. I would like to end my discussion with what Shyama Prasad Mukherjee has said. एक देश में दो विधान, दो निशान और दो प्रधान नहीं रह सकते. सोचिए और विचार कीजिए. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity and giving me this patient hearing. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. That was truly informative, talking about how the discussion needs to be promoted in every aspect, in every gathering is really important, and even I agree with that. We'll take all the questions now in the chat, sir. Before starting with the questions, I just have one question right now. It's my question, sir. Talking about diversity, India is a country with diversity. I agree that uniform civil codes uh, needs to be formulated, and everyone needs to be I mean everyone needs to be taken care of in under a single law, under a single basket. But sir, how do we take care that we don't lose the diversity which is already present in India, which makes India unique? Diversity, I'm not only talking
रुशिल
about
जी,
religion. Yes, sir.
जहां तक डाइवर्सिटी की बात है, नो वन इज अबव लॉ। मैंने शुरुआत में आपसे कही कि हमारा पहला मजहब जो है वो संविधान है। या तो हम संविधान को माने या अपने धर्म को माने। यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो हम यूनिफॉर्मिटी की बात करते हैं। मैंने वहीं पे कही that all the communities should be taken into confidence before implementing this. There has to be a consensus developed throughout the country for this. कहीं ना कहीं किसी को कोई प्रॉब्लम जरूर होगी। मैं किसी पर्टिकुलर धर्म की बात नहीं कर रहा। That's why I could have given you the example of Muslim laws, but I intentionally gave the examples of Hindu laws by specifically mentioning that it should not be seen that we are targeting a particular religion. There are flaws in Hindu religion, there are flaws in Muslim religions, and we should accept it. Diversification should not be at the cost of country. Country first.
Right. Thank you, sir. Sir, there's this question from Arvind Seth, sir. So, whether Hindu laws will be repealed after the formulation of Uniform Civil Code?
It's not about repealing the Hindu laws. The codification never talks of that they'll be repealing any laws. The laws are always made in conformity of our customs, but those customs should not be against a particular section of the society. We should respect all the religions. We should respect every strata of the society. So the Hindu laws as codified till date, followed till date, yes, there would be certain changes, certain amendments, but they would not be repealed as such.
Uh, so, there's this another question that is formulation of Uniform Civil Code is a matter of courts or is it matter of legislature?
It's a matter of legislation. As far as the courts have said, the courts have, I've told you about the Shara Bano case or Mina's case. The courts have categorically said that they have no hesitation in implementation of the Uniform Civil Codes, but the decision has to be taken by the legislature, because as far as they being present in directive principles of state policy, there is a hitch in Article 37. We have to come out of that.
So there's this question from Ujjwal Arora. So can we codify Muslim and Hindu laws in accordance with the constitution so that people can follow their religion?
Yes, there is no bar to follow religion. This is what I have submitted. As far as following one's own religion, there is no bar in Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code is to govern not the lifestyle, but the legal style of the persons.
So we'll take one last question because we have already exceeded the time. So there's this question, Himanshu. Uh, Definitely, I'll ask you a question. So there's this question: should the subject be introduced immediately in all the schools from its beginning for its awareness?
Yes, definitely. This is what Mr. Satyapal Jainji was telling, and I was, in fact, requesting the Think India that by using this platform, they should take this discussion to every nook and corner, every school, every college, every gathering, social media, digital media. Till the time the consensus would not be developed, I'm sorry, it would not be implemented.
So I'll just unmute Shantanu. He wants to ask a question.
Sir, when we talk about Uniform Civil Code, the basic question that arises is how it will stand the scrutiny of Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. Like in Part 3, there is an article, there is a fundamental right of freedom of to profess, propagate their own religion. Then, if they are practicing their own religion, then they'll have their own personal laws as well, not just Muslims. Even when we talk about the Sikhs, for example, they have different ways of marriage. They don't perform saptapadi, they perform different sacraments and all. So how can legislation ideally involve all the diversities into one, and how will it stand the scrutiny of the part 3 of the Indian Constitution?
See, Shantanu, this is what I have conveyed in my submissions, that Uniform Civil Code is not against the doctrine of Article 25 and 26 of the Indian Constitution. Freedom to practice, propagate, profess your religion under Article 25 of the Constitution, but it can't give unreasonable liberty to exploit the human rights of women in the society specifically. The UCC has to be in consonance with the practices, but those practices should not act as a hindrances, should not exploit a particular section of the society. Laws are made for benefit of the society, not to exploit the society.
Can someone unmute Sanjay Vashit, sir? I'm unable to unmute him. Someone with the host privileges. Till that time, there's this question. Sir, is UCC not merely aiming for simplification of legal proceedings for the judiciary, because no religion lacks civil laws which it expects its followers to follow, and when Constitution awards them with the right to practice the same, would UCC not come at a deterrent of that right?
See, I guess this question has come thrice now,
Yes,
through
sir.
different modes, through different wordings. UCC has nothing to do with the professing of anyone's religion. There is no bar to follow your religion. It's just the simplification of laws. Laws not in derogance with the human rights, not in derogance with the humanitarian ground, on humanitarian grounds.
I guess we can conclude this section. I don't see any more questions.
There's
Thank
one
you,
question from
Rushil. Thank you so much.
Also, let me ask the question. He has been
Yes, yes.
raising it since long. So he's asking, how can one file a PIL in Supreme Court directly if the matter is related to whole country and can fight the case by his
The
own?
matter is still pending. Ashwini Upadhyay case is still pending. There are many, in fact, many matters are also tagged along with that. So next date in that matter is 23rd of March, if I'm not wrong. The matter is still pending, still going on.
Right.
Thank you, sir. That was really interactive session, and we got to know the nuances of how UCC would affect the everyday lives of the individual. Now I'd like to invite Shubham Supla, sir. Sir is the co-convener of Think India, to give a vote of thanks. Thank you, everyone, for the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rushil. So I pay my sincere gratitude to both the guests today for giving such an enriching insights to both these topics. As a student of law, what I could get from Satyapal sir's lecture was that Free India's constitutionalism has successfully marketed a modern idea of India and ignored the traditional idea of India. So constitutional should be a manifestation of Indian civilization as well. And also Anil sir has rightly clarified the position that the UCC has no bar to profess upon anyone's religion. So I hope that participants have enjoyed this session. Also, I can see that this session is not only joined by students but also advocates. As I can see, Padam Khan ji is there, Sanjay ji, Deepak ji, Varun ji, and all other such distinguished members of the bar who have been a constant support of Think India. I am deeply obliged and I pay my sincere thanks to them also. And last but not the least, I pay my thanks to participants who have joined this session and Rushil for moderating it so well. And I also hope that both the guests will be joining us in physical mode whenever the normalcy returns in Chandigarh, and we can hold any other session as such today's. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on such a short notice.